Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to unbox this 3D digital spool rack from Creality. As you can see, I have 4 of them because I have 4 printers, that is 1 for each. Now I put these aside. And I take this one to see what's inside. As you can see, with Creality, the packaging is generally very good. The product is well protected. Here I have 2 screws and nuts. This is the bracket to place on the printer. This is the charging cable to charge the spool holder. Here we have the user guide to show how to install the spool holder. And here we have the spool holder itself with its screw. And here we have the charging port. Now, when you turn it, you see that it's almost frictionless because there are bearings inside that reduces the friction. When you turn it, you notice that it's almost frictionless because there are bearings inside that reduce the friction. So it moves very smooth. The installation is very simple. First, I will place the rack on the printer using these screws. I will try it with the Ender-3 S1. I remove the spool holder. And now I'm going to place it on the printer. I insert the nuts and I screw. Okay, now to install the holder, I remove the screw here and I will put it on the rack and screw it at the back. But I should make sure that the spool holder is level, and for that the word Creality here should be level, it should be horizontal. So that's what I'm going to do. There it is, I can see it's leveled. Okay, the word Creality is level, it means that my spool holder is leveled. Now a single tap on the touch area would power it on, just like this. Now to power it off, I press on hold for a few seconds. In order to know the weight of filament left on the spool, I need first to know the weight of the empty spool. If I take the example of the spool, if I place it on the rack, I need first to know the weight of the empty spool, and then after the reading here, I will deduct the weight of the empty spool to have the net weight of the filament left. I can use first an empty spool to know the weight, and then after I will place the spool with the filament to know the weight of the filament. Now in case I don't have an empty spool, in the guide there is a table that shows some reference weights for the different types of spools. Okay, I can use them to know the weight of filament left on my spool. Now I tap once to turn it on. I place the empty spool on the rack. As you can see, it's about 140 grams. Here it shows about 140 grams. Usually that's between 140 and 150 grams. Now that it's reset, I can remove the spool, the empty spool, and as you can see, it shows minus 140. Now it means that if I place this spool, it will show the net weight of filament left. Here, for example, I have 282 grams of filament left, and that's very simple. Now for the Ender-3 S1 and the S3 SE, that's easy because the filament spool is at the front, and here we have the head, here we have the extruder at the front of the printer. Okay, so placing the spool this way is not a problem. But when we take the Ender-3 Pro, the extruder motor is at the back and the extruder itself is here at the front. So it means that if I place the spool holder, here, the filament won't be able to into the extruder here. So if I place it like this, this is the correct way, I would have the screen facing the back, and I don't want that. I want to have the screen facing me so that I can read the weight of filament left, but I can't put it like this. So two solutions came to my mind. First solution, I move the spool holder at the bottom here on the right, or I move the extruder motor itself. Now I decided to try both solutions. For the first solution, which consists of moving the filament spool down on the right, I've printed this mount. So the spool rack will be mounted here, and this will be inserted in the frame, and I can put screws if I want. And that's what I'm going to try with this one, with the Ender-3 Pro. There it is for the Ender-3 Pro. Now the second solution, as I said, is to have the spool holder at the top facing this way, but I will need to move the extruder motor at the top here, and that's what I'm going to do with the Ender-3 V2. Now for that, I have designed this mount here. I have designed this mount here, and here we have screw nuts to lock it, and the extruder will be placed inside this like this. I make sure that this part is facing up, and the connector of the extruder motor is also facing up. I insert it like this, I push it inside, I push it all the way down. There it is. Now the way it will be placed, I'll just put it on the frame like this. Okay, this part would enter this frame here, and I will slide it in, and after I can put a screw at the top and at the bottom. Even one screw at the top is enough, it's strong enough. So I have two holes here to put screws and one here to put a screw at the top. So that's the way it will be placed. Now as the extruder motor may get hot, and this is printed out of PLA, I don't want it to work because of the heat. So I decided to add a fan at the back here to cool it down. So for that I have also designed this mount. Okay. I will place the fan in it just like this. I place the fan just like this. Okay, and will be put here. But to make sure that the fan does not move, I will use these 4 springs. I insert one in each hole here. I have 4 springs. Okay, now I will use 2 screws. I will use these 2 screws to keep in place. I just place it like this, and I can put the screws. There it is. Now the extruder motor is in its mount. Now I place it on the frame here at the middle, or a little bit on the right. Now I can place a T-nut here. And then I can put a screw to keep in place. Okay, now the extruder motor is at the top, but I will need to power the fan. Now for that, this is the wire that would power on the fan on the extruder here. Now I've cut it and put this connector, and I've created this connector which is divided into 2 parts. So this one will be connected to the wire here, now the first one will be connected to the fan of the extruder here, and the second one will be connected to the fan of the extruder motor here. And now I can put back, I can test the fan if it's running or not. I turn on the printer. Okay, I can see that both fans are running, this one here and the one here. Both fans are running. Nice. Because I moved the extruder here, I will need to change the ball and tube, which is a little bit longer. Okay, now I'm going to place the extruder parts. First I will place this one, make sure that the word Creality is this way. I can screw it down. Okay, now I can put it back on the frame. I put back the screw. Okay, now I'm going to put the Bowden tube. There it is. Now I can put my spool holder at the top here. Okay, now I have my digital spool racks on all 4 printers. Okay, here are my 4 digital spool holders, one for the Ender-3 V3 SE, one for the Ender-3 S1, one for the Ender-3 Pro, and one for the Ender-3 V2. I also have this mount for the extruder and also this spool mount at the back. So thank you very much for watching. Do not hesitate to share this video and make sure you subscribe to my channel for further videos.